Well, good morning or afternoon to everybody. Thanks for joining us on our last of the designer webinar series for outdoor retailer. Very excited for this morning. We have Life Material presenting on sustainable odor control for outdoor apparel, footwear, and accessories. A couple housekeeping items before we get going. First, if you're having any problems with the video or audio, a lot of that is fixed if you just close the seminar and re-log back in. If that doesn't cure it, there's also a question mark on the top right part of the screen. Just click that and then click Test My System Now. And that should be able to help you through those complications. Second, on the left side of the screen, there's a box labeled Ask a Question. Speakers love to have these. I believe Life Material will be taking questions towards the end, and they're giving a good amount of time for that. So feel free to ask any question that comes up. Third, the session's being recorded. So just be mindful of that. And as well as we're going to be publishing this about 15 minutes after the seminar concludes. And you can find that on the outdoorretailer.com website. And I think that is it. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Life Material, and I believe they have a video to start us off.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tom Ellefson, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Life Material Technologies. My colleague Lisa Owen is also here with me today, and she's temporarily unable to speak to the webinar, but we hope to have that resolved as quickly as possible. I'd like to start out by thanking everyone for being here. Special thanks, of course, goes to the Outdoor Retailer crew, who've been very professional in setting this up. We see we have around 100 people listening right now, and we think it's very exciting that the people taking time off in their very busy time to listen and learn about new technologies for textiles. So with that introduction, I'd like to step into a little bit of this presentation. And as the first slide here indicates for you, we're going to talk about a botanical way to stop odor in apparel, footwear, and accessories. Our technology is called Life Natural. And the odor control that Life Natural provides for textiles is not a temporary treatment, it's a durable treatment. We'll discuss all of these points in detail further on, but for right now, just a few bullet points to make sure if some of you don't have time to watch the entire presentation, at least you get a few bullet points in the introduction. The second point is that Life Natural uses peppermint oil as the active ingredient. Peppermint oil, you're probably all familiar with as an ingredient found in oral care products. It's very commonly used to stop bad breath. Bad breath is caused by bacteria growing in your mouth. And so you use peppermint oil in toothpaste and mouthwash, in chewing gum, to prevent those bacteria from growing. We're using that same ingredient in textiles to stop bad smell from developing. So what that means is that unlike most of the other treatments available on the market, we do not, in our Life Natural treatment, use any silver, copper, zinc, or other heavy metals. And we'll talk about the significance of that a little bit later as well. So in summary, Life Natural is a natural, renewable, and sustainable way to control odor in textiles. And that's in one slide. If you don't have the full time to give to us, that is what we want to convey to you today. But we are now also going into the bigger story. And so bear with us, because it's a bit more of a complicated story. It's a story that involves microplastics, heavy metals, water waste, and odor control. So it's actually a much bigger story than just controlling odor. I think you've all seen the big problems that are developing in the world's ocean relating to microplastics. And I think most people are also aware that, for example, car tires and the small microplastic parts that fall off rubber tires is a huge problem. But many people perhaps are not aware that synthetic textiles is an even larger problem, accounting for more than 1/3 of the microplastic pollution that goes into the ocean. And how is it exactly that microplastics make it from your exercise shirt and into the oceans? Well, it really has to do about laundering, because synthetic clothing basically is plastics, and each fiber, when each fiber is broken down, it ends up being a piece of microplastic. And so every time we wash our clothes, there is a release of microplastics, and it ends up in our waterways and eventually make their way to the ocean. And as you can see on this slide, the different types of fibers are estimated to release a different number of fibers. But if you take the most commonly used fiber, polyester, you're looking at 500,000 fibers released per wash in your washing machine. So these are not small numbers. And when all of us do it, this is how we end up with big numbers coming into our oceans. So the big question really is, how do we reduce laundering? And this is where odor control comes into the picture. The primary cause of body odor is sweat. And why is it that sweat starts smelling? Well, bacteria on our skin, when they find, and when these skin bacteria breed in our clothing in the sweat, there's some waste products that have strong odor. And so these type of smells are often organic acids, but they are basically bacterial poop. And the way to is by using antibacterial textile treatments. And antibacterial textile treatments have been around for a long time, but their use has accelerated in recent years because, especially when we're talking about performance apparel, we are using more and more synthetic fibers. And synthetic fibers are particularly prone to smell issues. Now let's look at the situation as it is today. The problem, as I described it, is that you have a shirt, you're washing it too much, and in the washing machine, and you end up releasing microplastics into the environment. The current industry solution to reduce the incidence of laundering is to use odor control treatments using silver, copper, zinc, and other heavy metals. So yes, the current solutions that have been used for many years in the market do have some ability to reduce release of microplastics because they reduce the frequency of laundering. But you unfortunately also then have some release of heavy metals that are released from the products. And there have been a number of studies that have investigated that in detail. Quite a prominent study that has been in the news in many parts of the world is a study that was conducted by the Swedish Water and Wastewater Association. And they took a whole range of different products found in the marketplace that contained silver, although this could equally have been zinc or copper. And they measured the amount of silver in the products before washing, and then they washed them 10 times. And after 10 times, there wasn't a whole lot of silver left. So that has a couple of effects. The one is, of course, that the antibacterial effect, the anti-odor effect that allows you to wear more and wash less, doesn't work so well after 10 washes with most of the treatments in the marketplace. But the other big issue, of course, is that the silver has washed out. Silver is a perfectly safe product for humans, but unfortunately, it is toxic for aquatic organisms, frogs, fish, and so on and so forth. The same, of course, is the case for copper and zinc. And so we make it to our solution, which is the technology that we call Life Natural. Life Natural is a treatment applied to textiles, which of course also can be applied to other materials such as polymeric foams used in footwear. It's a durable way of applying small amounts of peppermint oil to textiles so that the textiles can prevent the growth of odor-causing bacteria. So peppermint oil treated textiles, be it shirts or socks, underwear, therefore can resist the development of odor-causing bacteria. and we can reduce the frequency of laundering. So a case we have here now is we help reduce the release of microplastics. We don't release any heavy metals. And the only ingredient that's gradually being released during washing is peppermint oil. And of course, peppermint oil is already used widely in things like toothpaste and mouthwash, as well as other oral care products. Let's talk a little bit in detail about peppermint oil. What exactly is peppermint oil? Peppermint oil is the essential oil that is extracted from a plant called Mentha piperita, or peppermint. Originally from the old world, peppermint is now grown all over the world. And in fact, America's Pacific Northwest is world leading in the cultivation of peppermint. When the oil is extracted from peppermint leaves, it's purely a steam process. There are no solvents involved. There are no other chemicals. So it's purely a case of taking huge piles of peppermint leaves and blowing, boiling, steam at very high temperatures through the leaves, so that all of the volatiles inside the leaves evaporates. And this goes into a cooling chamber where the water is separated, and what you end up with is the essential oil of peppermint. I mentioned it earlier, but I'll repeat it again. The largest uses of peppermint oil are in oral care. Chewing gum, of course, is huge, but also mouth rinse and toothpaste. Peppermint is also used widely around the world as a food flavoring agent. And it's also used in fragrance, so it can commonly be used in soaps and cosmetics. Now I'm going to talk a little bit in detail about Life Natural. So Life Natural, as I mentioned earlier, is our name for our suite of peppermint oil-based odor control technologies for textiles and other materials that are used in apparel and footwear. When we talk about textiles, these are finishes that are applied via standard padding and exhaust finishing methods, and there is no additional equipment needed. So if your textiles are presently treated with softeners, if they're treated with wicking agents, if they have cooling finishes applied, Life Natural is applied in exactly the same way, so there's no special equipment needed. When the Life Natural treatment has been applied to textiles, there's no impact on hand feel, there is no change in color of the fabrics, and importantly, there is also no impact on smell of the textiles. In the factory where Life Natural is applied to the textile, in the dye house, finishing house, there will be a very strong smell of peppermint. But after the heat curing, there is no residual smell of peppermint left. If you take treated textiles and put them inside a sealed bag for some period of time and stick your nose into the bag, yeah, you can get the very faintest smell of peppermint, but it's not noticeable under normal use of apparel. The Life Natural treatments are compatible with other commonly used textile finishes. So that involves softeners, wicking agents, and cooling treatments. And it's not necessarily compatible with everything, so this is something that we have to do on a case-by-case basis, but generally our experience is very good that we are able to find solutions that are compatible, so that there's no need to compromise on using other treatments when you're also using Life Natural. We talked earlier about silver treatments measured in Sweden largely disappearing after 10 launderings. Well, Life Natural can be effective through as many as 50 launderings. This, of course, depends on exactly the treatment levels, but we have commercial customers that operate on 10 launderings for controlled quality control testing purposes, 20, 40, and even 50. So this means that the Life Natural treatment can be as durable as any other odor control treatment in the marketplace, and can even be as durable as antimicrobial odor control that goes through synthetic fibers. Lastly, I'm sure that many people now are questioning, well, hold on a minute, this product uses a natural product. It has excellent performance. It's got great wash fastness and good compatibility. Is it expensive? Life Natural, broadly speaking, tends to be a little bit less costly than silver-based products in the marketplace, and perhaps a bit more costly than zinc-based products. So it sits right there with a quite competitive cost profile, so that generally speaking, if you're using an odor control treatment and you'd like to look at Life Natural, you would not need to shell out additional money to switch to Life Natural. Not only does Life Natural perform well in laboratory testing, but it also works really well in real life wear trials. And I can't really call myself an athlete, but I do a lot of trail running. And so I'm very familiar with the problem of stinky polyester shirts. And very early on in our product development, the only thing that really mattered for us was whether it actually worked in real life. So we've done a lot of that work by ourselves, and certainly several of our customers have done the same. The article referenced in the presentation here is an article that was in the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal decided to try odor control technologies for different T-shirts. And they worn these 3 different T-shirts for 30 days each, not washing them. And there were some different things. Wool T-shirts are known to be quite odor resistant. It's not completely odor resistant, but they have some ability to resist odor formation. So they tried a wool T-shirt, they tried a nylon wool T-shirt, and they also tried one using cellulosic fiber from a New York company called Pangaea. And Pangaea used Life Natural treatment for this. And the very unofficial study conclusion was that the T-shirt tested from Pangaea, treated with Peppermint Oil, Life Natural, is the product that performed best in the Wall Street Journal wear test results. If anyone wants to work with us, we encourage you, of course, in addition to doing the standard laboratory tests with accelerated washes and the standard test methods, the JISL 1902, AATCC 100, ISO 2743. In addition to all these standard test methods, please, by all means, also do wear tests. Our products work very well. The Life Natural treatment is making its way into stores. This part of the presentation hasn't been updated in a few months. There are a few more brands out there, but these are some examples of brands that are using it. And one thing that I'd like maybe to highlight is that if we have people listening right now that may sell products into the European Union market, the European Union requires you to disclose the active substance used as an antimicrobial odor control ingredient. And As you can see for this little label on the right side of the screen, for customers that use Life Natural in the European Union, they have to disclose active biocidal substance, peppermint oil. That's, I think, is actually quite a good selling point. Whereas I think a lot of other companies try to hide some of their chemistries as best they can because it's heavy metals or synthetic chemicals with really long names. So I'm reaching the end of our presentation here, and I'm going to come with a little bit of a call to action. And I'd like you to please work with us, if you have the ability, to first of all reduce odor in textiles and in other materials used in footwear, such as polymeric foams that also can use our technology. By doing that, we can reduce launderings. And if we reduce launderings, we reduce water consumption, water waste. And by not using heavy metal type odor control treatments, we also don't release in the wastewater metal ingredients that can be harmful for the environment. And if we wash less, if the jeans can be washed less frequently, if you can wear a shirt an extra day, that also means that we can reduce the presence of microplastics in the environment. So our last slide here is just to get up. If anyone is interested in contacting us outside of asking questions in this seminar, I'm putting on the screen here contact details for Lisa Owen, based in the US, and Barry Clemo, based in Asia, who will be able to follow up on a one-on-one basis. And with that, our presentation has concluded, and we have a fair bit of time for questions and answers. And if my colleague Lisa has been able to make it back online, Lisa, I think you're going to be running our Q&A session.
That's right, Tom. I'm here. Hi, everybody. So Tom and I are going to respond to as many questions as possible, and the ones that we can't get to, we'll be sure to follow up with you personally. I think we'll have all of that by Tuesday and be in position to follow up then. And just a quick reminder, we've prepared a one-page takeaway for attendees, and it also contains our contact information. So please be sure to download that from the OR site, and of course, write to us individually if you'd like to receive this actual presentation. Thank you for joining our webinar today, and keep the questions coming. We've got a lot of questions, Tom. So let's get started. I'm going to expand my screen so that all I see at this moment are Q&A. So the first question, Tom, comes from a footwear manufacturer. Is the silver treatment including silver ions or just silver finish applications? So the silver data that you shared in the presentation, is it one type of silver or many types of silver?
So the study that was conducted by the Swedish Water and Wastewater Association selected products, a really wide range of products found in the marketplace. And they were listed in the presentation slide, but it was perhaps a little too much to see. So the answer is that they chose everything they could find in the marketplace. So there would have been silver nitrate, there would have been silver chloride, there may have been metallic silver, many different forms of silver. The results, as you can see, also from one brand to the other about how much they released. But yeah, it was a fairly broad selection.
So the next question, Tom, and I can take this one. Who should they contact to receive point of sale promotional materials, including hang tags. So I would be very happy to be a point of contact for that. One of my favorite activities with Life Natural is marketing, as well as relationship management with customers in the Americas. So please feel free to reach out and we can explain how we support our brands launching with Life Natural. So Tom, the next question, is Life Natural compatible with DWR, durable water repellent treatments?
So the answer is a qualified yes. We do have several customers that that apply Life Natural together with water repellents. But as I think many people have experienced, when you put a water repellent onto a fabric, it can be difficult to then apply other things durably. So there can be implications for wash durability. And so this is really something we work on a case-by-case basis. Some of our customers have achieved very good wash durability, but it may involve a little bit of tinkering, because water repellents are really meant to, water and stain repellents really try to keep things off the fabric. And that includes things like Life Natural. So with some tinkering, we can achieve good results.
So Tom, this question comes from one of our competitors, and they're very interested to know what antimicrobial test methods we utilize to test the durability and effectiveness of Life Natural.
Oh, thank you, competitors, for listening in. The answer to that question is that it's all the same treatments. The test methods that are used in the industry. So I would say AATCC 100 is very widely used in the USA. In Japan and much of Asia, the JISL 1902 is the most preeminent. And in Europe, ISO 2743 is perhaps the most widely used. All of these are quite similar, and in both in product development and working with customers, we can work with all these different test methods. The second issue relates to washings. When we work with seeing how wash durable an application of Life Natural can be, some of our brand customers, retail customers have their own laundering protocols, and we have to follow those. And so that's generally not been a problem. Additionally, of course, the AATCC wash durability protocols are also used a lot in the industry. So AATCC 61 and also AATCC 135, I would say, are the ones that we've used the most in validating the technology.
So Tom, just continuing with that theme, because there's a number of questions in terms of antimicrobial efficacy and durability. So someone else is asking what is the efficacy rate after 50 times wash?
Mm-hmm. So I just want to preface that by saying the results we get depend on what is the textile, what other finishes and chemistries are applied, and how much of the Life Natural treatment is applied. But we have, for example, customers that make bed sheets, and pillows and other home textile products that are requiring 99% or greater reduction after 50 launderings, both gram-positive organisms and gram-negative organisms, and we can deliver on that.
So switching gears a little bit, this is an interesting question and also a compliment. Life Natural is a great solution for apparel and home textiles, but has it been used for other accessories like luggage lining or duffel bags? Is it compatible with water-resistant finishes?
Mm-hmm. So there comes the issue of water repellents again. I did speak to that earlier, that it is possible to co-apply Life Natural with water.
So we may have lost Tom. So I'll finish out that question until we can get him back. But so yes, Life Natural is very compatible with DWRs. It is all about the ionicity of the chemistries and the sequence of application, but we definitely have great results with DWR. In terms of accessories, absolutely. Life Natural is a versatile platform of technologies that includes certain polymeric materials. So it could be coatings for synthetic leather, coatings for leather and automotive seating, foams for footwear, foams for yoga mats, TPU-based material. So there are lots of things we can do beyond just apparel and home textiles, and we would encourage you to reach out. We'd love to help you with your luggage and duffel bag applications. So the next question, can this be applied to any fabrication? Yes, generally speaking. I mean, you know, there's not a lot of specificity there, but again, it's a versatile platform of treatments that are designed to be effective with different materials. So certainly cotton and cellulosics, as well as synthetic polyester, nylon, polyurethane, EVA. So there are lots of materials that we're happy to work with you on. Just please get in touch and let us know exactly what your interests are, and we'll be happy to help. How long is odor control effective in items that are not typically laundered? Again, you know, we're talking about topical on textiles. We're talking about inherent or embedded in plastic and other types of materials. And generally speaking, the treatments last for the life of the article. And we are happy to help you design ways to test for that. I'm reading and answering. This is a good one. Does Life Natural smell like peppermint? So the answer is that Life Natural, when you're applying it, so if you were to receive the chemistry and take a nice whiff of that, it would absolutely smell slightly minty. When you're applying it in the factory, it also smells slightly minty. We've never had an issue or complaint about that. Most employees like it, and they also recognize it as safer. And once the fabric is cured, there is no smell remaining. So your garments aren't going to smell like peppermint, although we have some customers who really want them to. So, you know, watch that space. Maybe there'll be a special grade for whiffy peppermint, and then some without.
I'm sorry, I'm back. I got a message saying I was disconnected.
So here's another. So I've been just taking all the questions, Tom. I'll take this one and then I'll bring you back in. So if I reach out to Lisa, will she be able to provide key fabric mills that are currently working with your product? We can certainly do that. Or if you have vendors you prefer to work with, we have folks in all the key textile manufacturing regions, so we can definitely work with your current supply base, and we are happy to recommend mills who have great experience with Life Natural. Here's a question for you, Tom. How is the treatment permanent? Do you use some type of binder?
So the peppermint oil itself is not even water soluble. So we use, just to explain a little bit how the products are put together. So we have to solubilize it using, you know, pretty standard chemistry. And then on top of that, we have to use fixing agents that can link the peppermint oil durably to the textiles. So to be clear, those type of fixing agents are synthetic chemistries, and they're fairly standard textile industry chemistries that that are used, to obtain some wash fastness for other type finishes in the industry. I guess at this point, it's also important to note that these type of ingredients, obviously peppermint oil is not listed on anyone's restricted substances list, but neither are any of the other ingredients used in Life Natural. So they're not present on zero discharge of hazardous chemicals. They're not present on any of the major brands and retailers' restricted substances lists. And maybe for good measure, I'll toss in that, these products have also been brought through the Oeko-Tex safety evaluation process, and all of the different treatments that we offer have been verified through Oeko-Tex under conditions 1 through 4.
So then just a couple of questions that I think we've covered before, but I just want to make sure since folks have submitted them. Life Natural, we do have very broad distribution. We tend to have our products distributed wherever the textile producing regions are. So yes, it's pretty easy to work with us and work with your existing supply base. And so any specific questions there, please get in touch. A lot of really great footwear questions. So Life Natural, again, is a platform of materials, and we can treat EVA, PU foam, synthetic leather, fabric, liners. We really can do all aspects of footwear. So we would love to work with these footwear brands. DWR, I think we've covered. So whether it be moisture management finishes, water repellents, softeners, Life Natural is really engineered to work well with multiple textile functions, and especially if the chemistry is ionic or cationic, because Life Natural is cationic. Let's see what else we have. Oh, this is a good one. Can we add this treatment to both knits and wovens? What products exist in the marketplace with this technology?
Mm-hmm. So the answer is yes, it can be added both to woven fabrics and to knit fabrics. We can use the same products on both knits and wovens. We have one product that we can apply to nylon and to all the cellulosic fibers like cotton and viscose, and those can be applied via both exhaustion and padding. For polyester, the primary product that we use is applied via padding, and we are also quite far along in developing an exhaustible product for polyester.
And I knew this question was going to come up just given where we are, today with this pandemic. Is Life Natural an antiviral treatment?
So in the other part of our business, Life Material Technologies also works with antiviral technologies. And viruses, when found in the environment outside of a host cell, could be a human cell, animal cell, or even bacterial cell, they start to degrade and over time will inactivate. And the time that it takes for a virus to inactivate really depends on what are the conditions of the environment that they're in. Is there sunlight? What's the humidity and so on? But it also depends to a large extent on what is the substrate that the virus is placed. And one of the things that was tested early on in the pandemic was that, and released in a study published in The Lancet, the British medical journal, found that while the virus could survive on metals and could survive on plastics or coated areas for up to several days before all of the viruses were inactivated or degraded. On textiles, they would only survive for hours. And so any meaningful antivirus treatment on textiles needs to have efficacy that's, only over a few hours, 2 hours, 4 hours, something of that nature. Life Natural uses peppermint oil as the active ingredient, and there is published literature stating that peppermint oil has an antiviral effect, that it can inactivate viruses. Having said that, we, because of the positioning of Life Natural as an odor control treatment, initially decided to go after viruses with more harsh chemicals, if you will. But because this question comes up so often, we have commissioned some studies. They're still ongoing because it's quite busy at the virology labs these days. So we'll have a better sense of whether Life Natural is antiviral coming up over the next month or two. Having said that, I guess I also need to mention that in certain parts of the world, making antiviral marketing claims is quite tightly controlled. I think a very big part of our audience today is from the United States. And in the United States, if your shirt, if your shoe makes antivirus claims, it's the garment or the shoe actually needs to be registered with the EPA, which can be quite time-consuming and very costly. So I think that's an important thing to understand for those who are interested in going the direction of antivirus claims for textiles, that they have to expect to spend quite a lot of time on regulatory and also quite a lot of money.
So Tom, would you explain a little bit about the mechanism of Life Natural and peppermint oil as an antimicrobial, what that mode of action is?
Well, peppermint oil itself is a complex material. There are close to 100 different natural substances in peppermint oil. And the two biggest substances by volume are menthol and menthone. And both of those are known to have antibacterial activity. But there are also lots of smaller ingredients that also have antibacterial activity. And so it is believed that the reason why peppermint oil as a natural substance is so potent, even in very small amounts, is that all of these ingredients work synergistically together to affect the microorganisms. There's been some speculative research on exactly how peppermint oil and other natural plant oils kill microorganisms. And I think it's just that it's quite speculative, because when you're dealing with 100 different substances coming in contact with bacteria at the same time, it is difficult to say exactly how the control takes place.
So Tom, a bit of a technical question from an apparel brand. And so specifically, this is thinking about fleece applications. Because of the increased surface area of the fleece, would the effect or durability of the antimicrobial be enhanced, or might you get by with less chemistry because of the increased surface area?
Mm-hmm. When we get these type of questions, it's sometimes easy to get bogged down in theoretical considerations, but really it comes down to conducting trials, carrying out washings and checking for efficacy. And in fact, we do have experience working with fleece materials. And in the work that we've done in fleece, in fact, I think the hunch that the person asking this question had was actually shown to be correct. We were able to reduce treatment rates somehow compared to what we can do in certain other materials, which of course is very valuable from a perspective of costs. So that's been our experience to date.
So, Tom, we might spend a couple of minutes. There's quite a few different questions around topical versus inherent as it relates specifically to Life Natural. So while you had dropped off, I explained that, you know, we have a versatile product platform that we can, in fact, go into some polymeric materials as well as topical applications for cellulosics and synthetic fabrics. Could you expand a little bit on the different types of plastics that Life Natural can be incorporated into versus the ones that say it can't because of temperature?
Sure. So the Life Natural suite of technologies both involves topical applications, such as the ones that we've talked mostly about for textiles, and it also involves built-in solutions where it's built into the material. Peppermint oil has quite good temperature stability, and in certain of our products, we build systems around the peppermint oil to protect it against temperatures, so we're able to even increase the natural temperature stability limits of peppermint oil. So starting with polyurethane foam. Polyurethane foam, we supply a liquid additive that is mixed into the polyol raw material, and from there, the manufacturing of the polyurethane foam takes place as it would normally. There's quite a lot of peppermint oil smell during manufacturing, but it's pleasant. And what comes out is a polyurethane foam that is antibacterial, durably inbuilt in. It's got strong anti-odor efficacy on par with any other antimicrobial treatment for PU foam available in the marketplace. We have similar solutions for EVA foam. In the case of EVA foam, we supply either powder additives or we supply master batches, pelletized master batches. So in the case of the pelletized master batches, the peppermint oil is built into the plastic pellets, and they are just physically mixed with regular EVA pellets. And then the EVA foam process can proceed as usual, and you end up with an EVA foam with a slight, but for these built-in solutions, you get a slight peppermint smell in the polymers. So moving on to polyolefins, we have also master batches that go into materials such as polyethylene and into polypropylene. But that's when we start to hit the temperature limits. So we don't recommend our products for use in things like styrenic materials or engineering plastics, polycarbonate, polyester, polyamide, because the temperatures are too high. But I wanted to also cover that Life Natural is very good to use for coated fabrics. So if you have PU coated fabrics or PVC coated fabrics, for example, used for as synthetic leather, whether it be for footwear or even for furniture, we have liquid additives with peppermint oil that go into the PVC or PU formulations with very good compatibility and with no need for changing anything in the manufacturing process. And the last material I wanted to cover was natural leather. And natural leather After the tanning process, this is the stage where Life Natural can be applied really in a type of finishing process, a wash process, similar to exhaustion for textiles. But we've also seen that a lot of leather is coated, and we have Life Natural additives that can also be added into coatings that are applied to leather. Long answer, but there it is.
So I think we have time for one last question. So Tom, I'll let you take that. So zinc pyrithione is the most widely used antimicrobial odor control treatment for synthetic apparel applications. That's a statement, not a question. How does Life Natural compare to zinc pyrithione from a safety perspective?
Yeah. So zinc pyrithione has been used in the marketplace for many years. It's got good efficacy and low costs, and it's been adopted by many companies for that reason. In the European Union, they have recently reclassified zinc pyrithione as a reproductive toxin. So what that means is that products using zinc pyrithione in the European Union will be phased out gradually over time, or will be restricted to products that don't mind having reproductive toxicity warning labels on them, which is certainly not something you want in shorts or shirts. So we don't see that that's happening in the United States in the near future, but certainly the spillover effects from Europe can be considerable. And it may be difficult to explain why you're using a product that's been banned for health reasons in Europe. So our feeling is probably for that reason, zinc pyrithione, while it's been very popular, will gradually be phased out of the marketplace.
And with that, we're at 1 minute past 1. So thank you all for the questions. We received over 47 questions, and we've done our best to combine them and get to them. And we have a record of them here, so we'll be sure to follow up with you where we did not get the questions. I see someone has asked about the one-pager, and so there are sort of instructions there on where to go and where to find that. And of course, you know where you can find us at life-materials.com/life-natural. We really thank you for your time and your interest, and I look forward to working with you in the near future.